Hey everyone, welcome to Reddit Stories Part 2. If you enjoy this video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Kick back, relax, and grab some snacks, and let's get into the first story.
I let my little sister think I forgot her graduation because I could not bear to tell her where I really was. Her graduation was last year. She's 19 now. First person to do everything right on time in our family. She worked hard for it too. Honors, stupid amounts of clubs, all while living in the same house I ran from at 19. I pinky promised her I would be there no matter what. I said it over and over because she kept asking, and I knew why. Our parents miss things. They always have. I'm the one who usually shows up. It was an evening ceremony around 7, and I had promised her for weeks that I'd be there no matter what to support her. That morning, she sent me a picture in her cap and gown before school. She was smiling so damn hard it hurt to look at. I told her she looked great and that I'd see her later. I never made it. Around noon, I got a call from a county number. It was about my mom. She had been picked up after shoplifting, and there was some old warrant issue mixed in. I'm still listed as the emergency contact on a lot of her stuff because she uses my number for things and conveniently never changes it. I should have let it ring. I know that now. I know. But I answered. She was crying, saying she was scared, saying nobody else was picking up, saying please don't leave me there. So my whole day got eaten by it. Phone calls, waiting around, trying to figure out what was even going on, driving back and forth, sitting in one ugly waiting area after another. I kept checking the time and telling myself I could still make it if things moved faster. They didn't. My sister called me 3 times during the ceremony. I saw every call. I texted once that I was stuck at work and my phone had to stay off. That was the lie I chose. Work. By the time I got out, she had already posted pictures, everyone smiling. One empty seat where I was supposed to be. I went to see her the next day with flowers and a gift card, and she did not even yell. That almost made it worse. She just looked tired and said I kept looking for you every time the door opened. I told her I was sorry and that work blew up and I could not leave. She nodded like she did not believe me, but she let me hug her anyway. The part I cannot admit is that I did leave her for our mother. Again, I dropped everything for our mother and left my sister standing there hoping I'd walk through the door. My mom barely even seemed grateful once it was over. By the next day, she was back to normal. My sister wasn't, neither was I. She still talks to me, but something changed after that, and I felt it right away. I keep telling myself I was stuck, that I was dealing with a mess I didn't ask for, but none of that changes the part that matters. She looked for me, and I wasn't there. I hide cash in my best friend's house and have been for 2 years. This all started when I met my best friend, let's call her E, in 2024. E's family aren't the most fortunate family in the aspects of money. I've known this since I meet them. I first met E through a mutual friend, and me and her clicked instantly. We spent the whole summer we first met together, going on adventures, having sleepovers, and we also went camping. I love E. She is my world, and she really saved me when I was at my lowest, as I like to think I did for her. Her family took me in when I had issues at home and have always offered me a place to stay. I usually brought me and E food for lunch and/or tea and snacks every time I was there, and refused to let her pay, also getting her mom chocolates every so often. One day when I was around, they didn't have milk, and her mom needed it to make something. Her mom had always been kind to me and really helped me a lot. I see her as a mother figure, and I have so much love for her. I offered to go buy milk for the shop, but she said they couldn't afford it at that time. I said no worries, and that I would pay. She was very thankful, and I reassured her it was the least I could do, considering all that they did and continue to do for me. So me and E went to the shop and brought some milk for her. I really had no problem doing this, considering I have a job that pays well. I don't buy a lot of things, apart from monthly hair dye and occasional body jewelry, as I have quite a few piercings. We got back with the milk. I made her a cuppa, and me and E went into her room to watch TV and chat, as you do. Anyway, E ended up telling me that her and her mum do money hunts round the house when they're tight for money. This entails checking under the sofa, checking sofa cushions, the laundry pile, etc. to find loose change. She laughed and told me some funny stories about these hunts, and I laughed along with her. That's when it began. I started hiding loose change, 20p's, 50p, 1 pa coins around the house, and the occasional 5 pounds note. Every time I came to her house, I left around 4 pounds worth in change in spots where I knew they'd look, sometimes putting some in E's money box. They still don't know, and I'm never going to tell them. I do this because I love them so much. Her and her family are so good to me and so kind to me, and have genuinely just taken me in over the past 2 years. Her and her parents have gone above and beyond for me and her brothers, always kind and treats me as if I'm his sister too. I have kept this secret for 2 whole years and plan to for many, many more.
My college professor confessed to me and 5 other girls. I was 24 when this happened to me, and 2 years later found out he had done this to other classmates of mine. I was taking a digital art course which only has about 3 professors teaching. He was one of the main digital painting instructors. One year, a male classmate of mine was starting to become friendly towards me, and I admit I started getting butterflies in my stomach. This professor liked to joke around with his students a lot, and would also help out prolong pranks as well. So I decided to include him on a joke with this classmate of mine. That same night, the professor calls me drunk at like 9 or 10 at night. For context, he gave us his personal number for any quick questions or just sharing interests that are outside of class but still attached to art. I had texted him the joke I wanted him to say to the classmate earlier that day. Anyways, I was concerned why he was calling me so late, since I know he lives in a rural area by himself, so I thought he was just calling the last person who texted him. He starts telling me he had a conversation with classmate regarding me and our relationship, me and classmate. I was nervous, but also excited because it would have been the first time someone returned feelings, but then the professor said he was jealous of classmate. I felt my stomach drop, because that was a weird thing to say in the moment. But I decided he meant that he was jealous of still being single. But then he goes, I feel like I have a rivalry with classmate's name. Literally, didn't know what else to say. Does he mean that he's jealous that I'm accepting classmate's feelings and not his? Then he asks me if I would consider him, the professor. Mind you, even if I did make jokes with him, I still saw him in high regard as an elder, plus he was 2 decades older than me. He proceeds to tell me all the features he likes about, but lingers a lot when speaking on my body. Disgusted, I tried shooting him down, to which he tells me about his past relationships with younger women. I came to find out later that the one relationship he told me about was with an ex-student of his, who he got together with while she was actively taking his class. It was also the time when I found out that after I rejected him and saved myself by dating the classmate, he moved on to other female students younger than me to hit on them. Some he was more persistent with, and the one who did house sit for him had found questionable stuff in his house. We all collectively informed the school about it, but he's still teaching. I only got information about my rights to report misconducts, but no real answer on whether they'll remove him. They've spoken to him on the matter of being too close to students, but he never mentioned hitting on female students. I tried my best to urge them not to let him continue teaching, but it looks like they're not going to do anything about it, since it wasn't actually in front of a class.
I used to fake being special needs as a kid to get out of boring activities. Every summer from like 4th to 7th grade, my parents used to force me to go to zoo camp at the San Diego Zoo. You basically just walk around the zoo all week and learn about different animals. And after the first week of doing it, I hated it. They had work though, so they still made me go. The second summer, I started pretending to be special needs, so I didn't have to go walk around with the other kids and got to stay inside most of the day or go do what I want. I would fake getting upset about random things and would pretend to be hyper-fixated on a specific animal if I didn't feel like walking to the next exhibit or wherever we were going. Sometimes I would fake cry over things if I really didn't want to do it, and they would believe me. I acted normally around other kids, But as soon as a counselor tried to make me do something I didn't want to, I would turn this act on. I started doing this at other camps too once I realized how different adults treated me when I acted like that. Eventually, one of them mentioned it to my mom, and she actually had me tested for autism. Turns out I had ADHD, but I definitely wasn't autistic. I realize now how messed up that was. The old lady who was in front of me at the store checkout thinks I found her lost money, but I lied. I was at the grocery store, waiting in line for my turn to pay, and there was an old woman in front of me. She took out her purse from her handbag to take out money, but it looked like she couldn't find it. She searched her handbag and pockets frantically, and it clearly wasn't there. It must have been her last because she had tears in her eyes when she realized that she had really lost it. She said it was $20 and that she must have dropped it in the store because she went to the ATM first and remembers still holding it in her hand when she first came in. She actually wanted to go look for it. I felt sorry for her, so I pretended to find it on the floor, but in reality, I just took out my own $20 when she wasn't looking. The look on her face when I found it was worth it. She was so relieved. She gave me a hug, which was nice of her. It's not like I'm in a financially stable position myself, but it felt good to help someone who clearly really needed it.
I told my mom to report my friend's parents to social services. I need advice. I have a friend who's 13 years old. We're friends through practice, so we only meet like 2 times a week. Last weekend, we had a sleepover where she told me her mom was like psycho, and her mom was also calling her like once every half hour. The morning after, we did each other's makeup, and I gave her like a very cute and low-key look. She told me she absolutely had go wash it off before she left because her mom would go bananas if she saw it, but it was like barely visible too because it was such a light look. We went for a little walk when her mom called her and I couldn't hear through the phone, but my friend had started crying and apologizing, and she was almost choking on tears. She told her mom that she always blamed her for everything no matter what it was and that it wasn't fair. The call went on for like another 5 minutes, so I don't really think her mom cared. The mom just yelled at her to come home instantly. She told me afterwards that her mom had called her a dumb B-word for not answering her calls, despite the mom not having called her a single time, that my friend hadn't answered, which she literally proved by showing her mom her call history, and her mom still didn't care or listen. My friend has also told me she has an eating disorder, diagnosed, and that her therapist told her she might be depressed. Today, however, she told me something that I absolutely cannot ignore. She told me she and her friends from school were planning a party with drinking. I don't know these friends, but there was recently a case of some people drinking liquor from a liquor truck and dying from drug poisoning, so I'm incredibly worried. I kept asking her why and stuff, and she told me because being drunk equals happy. I tried talking her out of it, but yeah. Anyway, when I got home, I told my mom that it might be good to put an investigation on her parents, and my mom, who had also heard the phone call, agreed immediately. I don't know what to do. Please help.
I made a horribly insensitive comment to someone without realizing his background. Yesterday, I was at a family party and ran into a distant family acquaintance I hadn't seen in about 7 years. I had to reintroduce myself, and we started catching up. He asked what I was up to, and I told him I'm studying data science. I opened up about how I'm working on some projects, but feeling completely overwhelmed by the massive workload. He was incredibly kind about it. He went out of his way to motivate me, told me not to let negative thoughts get the better of me, and gave me some really solid encouragement. I got a bit carried away explaining my project, and the conversation shifted. I started complaining heavily. I flat out told him that our country doesn't support students like us, that it's the worst country, and that my ultimate goal is to move abroad as soon as I finish my course and get a job. After that, we sat down to eat. He became oddly quiet. At the time, I just assumed he was the type of person who didn't like to talk while eating. But as soon as he finished his meal, he got up and left quickly without saying another word. I thought everything was normal until later when I was talking to my dad. I mentioned that I had a long chat with the guy and asked what he does for a living. My dad told me he is in the army. My heart instantly dropped. I realized that the reason he went silent and left so abruptly was probably because I sat there tearing down the exact country he has dedicated his life to protecting, right after he had just tried to comfort and motivate me. I had no idea, but I feel absolutely terrible about it. It's making me so sad knowing I likely made him feel awful, and I just needed to get this off my chest.
I spent a night in bed with another man and never told anyone. When I was like 21, I attended a conference at a hotel. My stay at the hotel was covered by my college, but I drove myself there. Well, the night I had to check out, there was this massive storm. I was terrified of driving home in it. But I was broke and couldn't afford to pay for a room on my own. I was trying to work something out at the front desk and started sobbing. A guy from my college, who I barely knew, saw me crying and said he was staying another night. He said I could stay with him as long as I'd be comfortable sharing a bed. His room only had one. Of course, I was scared of sharing a bed with a random dude, and I was dating a horrible, jealous, and controlling man-child. He'd be furious if he found out, but I was so desperate, so I just went ahead and did it. Looking back at it, I am so lucky that nothing happened. The guy was perfectly respectful. He never once tried to make a move on me or do something that would make me uncomfortable for the entire night. And my boyfriend at the time, thankfully my ex now, never found out about it. I've never shared this with anyone, and I still don't think I necessarily did anything wrong. I wasn't trying to cheat or lead another guy on. I was just desperate and needed somewhere to sleep. I stayed quiet while my coworker got fired for something I did because she was already the easy one to blame. A few years ago, I worked front desk at a crappy highway hotel, and one night, I comped a room for a guy I knew because he kept whining that he was stranded. I wasn't supposed to do it, but I figured I could fix it in the system before morning. I forgot. The next day, my manager found the missing payment and started asking questions in front of everyone. My coworker Jen had checked that room out that morning, so it started looking like she was the one who messed it up. Jen was already on thin ice there, so once suspicion landed on her, nobody pushed back that hard. Not even me. She kept saying she didn't do it, but she got written up again and then fired a week later after some other issue. I said nothing. I told myself she probably would have been fired soon anyway, and if I admitted it, I'd lose my job too. The worst part is Jen texted me after asking if I really thought she did it, because everyone was acting like she was lying. I sent back some fake supportive bullshit, and she thanked me for being nice. That part still makes me feel worse than the firing itself, because she reached out to the one person who knew she was innocent, and I let her keep thinking nobody believed her. I pretended to be my sister and destroyed her life. When I was 19, I did something so petty and gross to my sister that I have never told anyone, and every time I see her now, I feel physically sick. We were living with our mom in a tiny apartment, and my sister was the one who always seemed to have her life together. Stable job, long-term boyfriend, always looked put together. I was the mess. Late to everything, dropping classes, constantly being compared to her. Then, her BF cheated on her. She came home crying, and I acted supportive, but honestly, part of me felt this ugly sense of relief that something in her life had finally gone bad too. A couple days later, while she was in the shower, I took her phone and texted him pretending to be her. I said she was going to expose him to everyone. I made it way harsher than she probably ever would have because I wanted him scared. It escalated fast. He started blowing up her phone, then came to our apartment yelling. My sister kept saying she didn't send it, but nobody really believed her because it came from her phone. I said nothing. Then he posted screenshots online. People from her work saw them, and within a week, she lost her job over it. She moved out soon after and never really came back emotionally. Now I only see her on holidays, and she's polite but distant. She still doesn't know it was me. I keep telling myself I was young and bitter, which is true, but I still did it on purpose. I was jealous, and I helped ruin her life over one nasty text.
I lied about loving her, and now I'm running away from what I've done. I don't even know how to start this. Maybe because saying it out loud makes it real, and I've been trying so hard to avoid that. I never loved her. That's the truth I've been hiding from everyone, even myself. She loved me though, fully and innocently, the kind of love where someone looks at you like you're the safest place in the world, and I took advantage of that. I said all the right things. I miss you. I see a future with you. I'd never hurt you. Every word was a lie, but she believed me. And the worst part is, I watched her believe me. I watched her open up, trust me, give herself to me like I actually deserved it, but all I wanted was to have sex with her. And I hate myself for even admitting that. Because she gave me more than that. She gave me her heart, her time, her peace, things you can't take back once they're gone. And now she's pregnant. When she told me, she was shaking but smiling at the same time. She thought it would bring us closer. She thought we were building something real. I remember just sitting there staring at her and feeling nothing but fear. Not joy, not responsibility, just panic, because now everything is real, and I can't hide behind my lies anymore. And instead of being honest, I've been thinking about leaving, just disappearing. In 2 days, I might be gone. No real explanation, nothing that can fix this. I keep trying to convince myself it's better this way, that she'll be okay, that someone better will come into her life, but I know that's just me, trying to make myself feel less guilty. The truth is, I'm scared. I'm weak. I'm about to leave her to deal with this alone, something we both created, but only she will carry, and she still looks at me with love. Even now. Even after I've started acting distant, making excuses, she still believes in me, still thinks I'm the person I pretended to be. I wish I was. I really do. I wish I actually loved her the way she loves me. Maybe then this wouldn't feel like I'm ruining someone's life. And now I keep going back and forth in my head, telling myself to stay, to face it, to at least try to be better. But then I feel that urge to run, to just disappear before everything collapses. And the worst part is I already know what I'm gonna do. I can feel it. I'm gonna leave. And she's gonna be there, confused, hurt, probably blaming herself for something that was never her fault. And I'm gonna carry this with me for the rest of my life, knowing I walked away from someone who loved me for real, and I still didn't stay. I took a deep sniff of the gym bench and got caught doing it. It was around 10 p.m. on a Saturday night. I was at my college gym working out as per usual. There was no one else around except for me and this other girl. This is the first time I have ever seen her at the gym. She looks really fit and was hitting a couple of chest and tricep workouts on the bench. She does not have an exceptionally pretty face, but her body was incredible. And I was really turned on straight away. After she finished her final set, she stood up, grabbed her water bottle, and walked out of the gym. I chided myself softly for not having the courage to start a casual conversation with her. Then my eyes shifted to the bench she was using earlier. The bench had visible sweat stains in a few areas, with an especially pronounced one at the area where her juicy ass was previously at. I suddenly felt a strong urge to walk over and take a deep sniff. However, decency got the better of me momentarily. I decided to proceed with another set of bicep curls. Just as I was done with my set, the sweat stain in the corner of my eye caught my attention again. I could not resist the temptation any longer. Assuming that she had left the gym for good and would not be coming back that night, I walked over to the bench and took a big sniff. The smell was not strong, but it was still heavenly. That smell of her sweat and the bench really went very well together. I took an even deeper breath. Then I decided to have a taste of her sweat. I squat down and I licked the sweat stains on the bench. It was at that very point that the door swung open. I was so shocked that I froze immediately. I looked up gingerly a few seconds later and I could see her at the door, looking absolutely shocked. She had come back with a towel, and I was guessing she must be planning to wipe the bench down. She definitely saw me licking the bench. She hesitated at the door for a few seconds before walking off. I felt so incredibly embarrassed. I immediately did another set of bicep curls to release all the emotions that were overwhelming me at that point. I then took a last quick sniff of the sweat and headed for the exit. My male best friend's voice turns me on. I'm a dude. Actually, this is about two of my friends. They both are dudes. I am also a guy, a completely straight guy. Never been gay, never thought about being gay, never will be gay, probably. Both of these guys I am pretty good friends with. Actually, one of them is my closest friend. They can both do incredibly good female voices. With this talent, they often say edgy or just in general crazy things with this voice. The problem is it turns me on, and I don't know what to do. It's not my friend that turns me on, just the female version of his voice. I've jokingly brought up the fact it turns me on when they do it, but really I'm not sure what to do. I really hate this. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment if you had any thoughts. Want to help support a small creator? Share this with your friends. It would really help the channel out.